What up, humans? It's your boy Bobby G, man. Well, Guitkits, episode number 10. Cool beans, man. We're getting up there, man. Lots of episodes for you guys to totally not watch. Listen to me. I want to do a special episode. Something near and dear to my heart. You know, my number one fan actually suggested an idea to me. It's my little daughter. She said, why don't you do an episode about your favorite guitar and do an episode about your least favorite guitar? I thought about it. That's a great idea. And I thought about it more. I said, what if that concept is embodied in just one guitar? Like you have one guitar that you love so much and it disappoints you in the same heartbeat, man. And I thought about what was my favorite guitar, what was my least favorite guitar. One guitar came up, man, in my mind, man. That's my Siberian Tiger. So let me tell you a little bit about my Siberian Tiger, people. Years ago, man, about 20 years ago, when the old Guitkit first started collecting guitars, man, like becoming like a, guitar surgeon, collector, connoisseur, if you shall, right? I was associated with my boy, my good friend, the late great Dr. Phil Patillo, man. Now the doc, he was my guru about guitars. I'll never, ever tarnish his memory, not one time, because he was not only one of the most knowledgeable people about the guitar, he was one of the most knowledgeable people I ever met about life. You know what I mean? He was a sage, man. Anyway, at the time, man, I was diehard in Dan Electros, man. And pretty much in '68, when MCA bought the company, Nat Daniels was gone. He took Vinnie Bell was gone. Everybody was gone, man. So MCA brought in some new hands, you know what I mean? And my man, Phil Patillo, was one of them. So I brought the convertible over there when I first got it, you know what I mean? Fresh out of the package, you know what I mean? And the sage, you know what I mean? Surrounded me with his wisdom, man. Told me all kinds of stories and great things about, you know what I mean? Anyway, man, it was just a great memory. And he asked me if I knew anything about Kramer guitars. And I said, now, at the time, it was, you know what I mean, Kramer guitars were not popular, man. This is like, you know what I mean, after they'd fallen out of favor, man. They were like, in my mind, at that time, it was like an element of the past, man. It was like hair metal past, you know what I mean? I was in like the 60s and the 50s. The 80s was, you know what I mean, too distant, too near of a thing to be distant, you know what I'm saying, man? Well, now it's like in nostalgic, because we're like old as hell. So, anyhow, man, I said, that's a hair metal guitar. Now, at the time, also, my man Ronnie built a derelict studio, and he bought like 5 or 6 guitars when he first got the studio up and running. He got a Les Paul Jr., he got a Les Paul Precision Bass, he got the 335 for Johnny Blade, he got the what else did he get? He got a whole bunch of guitars, and he got a Kramer Striker. A white Kramer Striker, and nobody ever touched that guitar. And I was the only, at that, when Phil asked me that question, that was the only physical exposure I had with Kramer, and the thing sucked, man. The guitar was terrible, man. I don't even think Ronnie had the hex keys, you know what I mean, for the Floyd Rose. I think he just, you know what I mean? He just, you know what I mean? We were too lazy for Floyd Rose by that time, man. You know what I mean? So it was out of favor, man. So Phil's like, good, you know what I mean? Stay away from Kramer's, man. He's like, let me tell you a little tale, man. So Philip told me the story about, you know what I mean, from his perspective, the origin of Kramer. He said that this guy, who I can only describe after like researching him as like Forrest Gump, if he had a little bit of intelligence, like a freewheeling, like freestyle entrepreneur, if you will, named Gary Kramer. You know what I mean? Showed up in his workshop with, his backers, you know what I mean? Dennis Berardi, you know what I mean? And maybe a couple other guys, who knows, you know what I mean? He said, we want you to make a prototype of a guitar with aluminum neck, man. But not just aluminum neck, because, you know what I mean, I'm trying to get away from that. Basically, this guy, Gary, had fell in California. He was like an auto parts salesman, I want to say. I don't remember the actual thing. And he fell in a guy with Travis Bean, who was like, a total like bohemian engineer, right? And this guy built a guitar with a neck out of straight aluminum. And Gary was the businessman, you know what I mean? And they, got all kinds of orders. They went to Nam with the guitar, and people loved it, you know what I mean? they ask orders, and he goes back to the factory, and the dude's got half the factory, you know, turned into like a drum studio, and he's got like Pigpen and Jerry Garcia like tripping on acid with this guy Travis Bean like in underpants playing bongos. You know what I mean? He's like, "What are you guys doing, man? You got to be building guitars here, man. We got all kinds of orders." So he gets fed up with the nonsense. He comes up, you know what I mean, to one of his dealers up in New York City, Dennis Berardi. And this guy's like a Svengali of the deal, man. You know what I'm saying? He was wheeling and dealing. He didn't really know much about anything, but he could sell, you know, milk to a cow, man. He was the best. You know what I mean? He was a great bullshit art. Personable guy, man, this guy. And Berardi, you know, he loved the guitar, man. He wanted to, you know what I mean, get something going. So they went to Phil Patillo, to my friend. You know what I mean? They had him design like 5 or 6 prototypes or whatever it was. And, you know, with the aluminum neck with like wood inserts in it or whatever. Man, these were beautiful guitars. But unfortunately, you know what I mean, things just didn't go well, man. They got a lot of buzz about the guitar, man, but, you know, things didn't go smoothly. Henry Vaccaro came in as a backer, man. Originally, it was just to be, everything was assembled, you know what I mean? So Phil didn't really want part of it, he told me. He said, look, you know what I mean, I just wanted to be, you know what I mean, a paid consultant. It's better to be a payee than a payer, you know, he was saying, you know? So, you know, he designed these guitars, you know, he used a lot of his, you know, what he gathered, you know, his knowledge and skills. And he wished him well, you know what I mean? But then Henry comes back to him and says, look, we need you to step in, my man. We need you to come in. We got to get a factory set up because all our suppliers aren't able to make these aluminum necks. They're crazy. To polish them up, they're just too expensive. So we're going to make them ourselves. So Phil came in again. You know what I mean? Phil told me he was offered ground floor, and he's like, I don't really want ground floor. You know, I just want to, you know, keep doing what I'm doing. But, you know, at the time, I also was working in production, factory, you know what I mean? And Phil went in there, he designed a lot of machines, he set them up, you know what I mean? He trained the people to work them, you know what I mean? He got attached to it, man. And he also, at the time, was developing his precision fret, man. That was the fret, that's the pyramid-shaped fret. And he thought to himself, he's like, this is what he said to me. I don't know if this is really what he thought, you know, or just hindsight, what he was, you know, what he was saying to me, was that he's like, it was a great vehicle for this pyramid-shaped fret of his, man. That he's trying to totally sell the world, because he had to sell Jim Croce on it, sell Bruce Springsteen on it, but he wanted to sell the masses to it, man. And he thought that this Kramer aluminum neck, so, you know, he had like shit on the fretboard made out of like bowling ball, you know what I mean, like plastic. It was just a radical concept, man. But he didn't want to tie his name to it in case it was like, you know what I mean, total flop, you know what I mean, because he was an artisan, you know what I'm saying. Anyway, so long story short, man. You know, the precision fret was supposed to be the main fret on this, but there are two unfortunatately for my brother Phil Patillo. First, unfortunately, was people didn't really want the precision fret on it, man. You know what I mean? And that kind of bummed them out, man. And so that sort of created like a bone of, you know, beef between him, you know, and Berardi and Kramer. And like, you know, they all started fighting with each other because things didn't go smoothly. They have problems building the guitars, having problems, you know what I mean, selling them, servicing, whatever. They'd have all kinds of problems, man. And the second, unfortunately, was those problems, man. And after a short period, Phil was shoved the door, man. And that really hurt him, man. It scarred him because he was a genius, man. So out of, you know, love for my brother Phil Patillo, I stayed away from Kramer's, you know what I mean, during his lifespan, man. Shortly after he passed, though, I think it was actually reading his obituary. You know, God rest his soul, man. And it mentioned the extensive work that he really did with Kramer. I remembered his stories that I was just sort of relaying to you. And I was like, wow, man. What a crazy saga, man. What a mouth-watering tale, man. What drama. And the drama can all kind of match the early Gibson company, man, when Orville Gibson was done dirty. You know what I mean? It's no coincidence that Kramer is owned by Gibson now, you know what I'm saying? It's like a weird thing. But I saw an article about somebody who I hold near and dear to my heart. 3 words, 1 name, Edward Van Halen, man. I read about his early involvement, you know what I mean, in Kramer in the 80s, man. And I sort of, like, in my mind, classified, well, wait, the guitar that Phil was sort of involved with, Gary Kramer wasn't even involved. He left, you know, he couldn't take he left shortly after Phil was, you know what I mean, booted out of there, man. So, to me, they're 2 different companies, man. There was one with the aluminum neck guitar, and then there was the wooden neck guitars with the banana head stocks that, you know, Eddie Van Halen stepped in front of the camera and said, look at me, man, this is my guitar. And that, to me, is like a different Kramer, a different company altogether, man. So, kind of made it right to me, you know what I mean, sort of to feel my longing for it. And so I was doing research on it, man, And I saw this picture that I'd seen back in college in an old magazine, and one of my Flophouse buddies, like, floors, Eddie with his overalls. And I read about, this particular thing in the article about Kramer, pictures of Eddie in the factory setting up guitars and hanging out, having Heinekens with the boys and building the guitars and stuff. I just got into it, man, because I love Eddie Van Halen. I love him, He was like a childhood hero of mine, you know what I'm saying? He was like the poster boy of the 80s, man. He's ours, you know what I'm saying? So, long story short, man, that picture of Eddie with his overalls playing this 1982 Kramer Imperial just opened up and blew my mind again, wide open, and it just got me an obsession. So I got some Kramers here. I'm going to flip you around, explain a little bit about the Kramers. There's only really one Kramer I want to talk about in this video, but I'll show you a couple of ones I got in the collection real quick. And then we'll get down to my Siberian Tiger, man. Look at those pretty maids in a row, man. Now, I consider myself like a reverse Frankensteinist, because like Kramers in their heyday were known as like Frankenstein guitars essentially for the reason that the components that they had on them were like exclusive to them and became legendary amongst hair metalers, particularly the Floyd Roses, which Eddie Van Halen had an exclusive contract because he was able to score it because Floyd was his friend, and the banana headstock, man. And those were like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? The banana headstock, you know what I mean? Says the 1980s, people. Very sought after, that particular neck. My friend Dougie Fresh loved that particular guitar. Let me just go over these guitars. Let's go sort of like reverse chronologically. And I'll get to my Siberian Tiger. So, this right here is a Kramer Pro Axe, probably 1989. It's got an F plate on it. Now, these are the ones that push-pull pot, right? And it's got the Seymour Duncan trimbucker. You know what I mean? It's got a old hot rail on there. Pro Axe, got the pointy headstock. The thing about this, it's cool that the trimbucker is kind of cool if you're doing like, you know what I mean, all those little notes up here and you got all kinds of effects. But me, cowboy chord kind of guy like me, you know what I mean, this is just all for show, this guitar. Just a beautiful guitar that I like to bust out here and there. Because it's beautiful. Not because it's functionally something I need. This guitar here, man, this is a Frankenstein itself, man. Now, when I say I'm a reverse Frankensteinist, I mean I like to get, Kramers that have been like totally dissected, like bodies and stuff, and bring them back to close to factory standards. But this particular guitar, man, was like, you know what I mean? What was the factory standards? This guy bought it from a flea market. I believe I paid $90 for it. And this is actually the genesis of this case, man. This Kramer case that I've always, you know what I mean, filming on the slab, you know what I mean? That's the actual guitar that came inside of it, folks. And the guy said that I bought it from at the flea market, he told me that he worked at Kramer. And he's like, after the lights went out at night, you know what I mean? If you were in the factory, pretty much anything goes. He said he built it himself, you know what I mean? Out of, whatever parts he wanted. He said there were no reverse headstocks on any Pacers at the time. You know what I mean? So this was like, I guess, he said all the parts were made by the same people by ESP, he said. Some of them were reserved for like, American quote-unquote models, and some were reserved for the import models. But he said he just, went nuts one night and built something he really wanted. He put a little Duncan mini bucker, and he said he loved the guitar, and just unfortunately, these were like a proprietary thing too. The quick release things, if you didn't have the, you know what I'm saying, the hex key, that was a Kramer thing too, man. This guitar is excellent, man. I haven't really done anything with the guitar other than it had like some gold screws in it that were like real big. They look kind of like appliance screws. I don't know where the hell they came from. You know what I mean? But I took them out of it. That's the only change I've made to this guy. But I mean, that's the only one that I haven't tried to bring back to, you know what I mean, its glory. Now this guitar I got, man, and it had been stored like in like a crate on the basement floor of a house that had flooded for like 25 years in parts. The guy was like a showman or something that had it, and he beat the crap out of it. And all I really did was get the body and the neck. And supposedly it's a prototype, man, for the Kramer Custom 1, man. I don't know what it is, man. You know what I mean? He says it's a 1984 prototype. Kramer Custom 2, I don't know. It's got the blower switch. It's got no tone knob. This is one volume knob, and you basically, it's got caps in it. You know, it's got some tone caps. You just got to figure out what you like. You know what I mean? Each one of these pickups here, these pickups I made of myself. Pretty much tried to mimic out pickups on like a Pacer Custom 2, I think it was, that I got the, you know what I mean, diagnostics from. And this blower switch will just like reverse, you know what I mean, everything that you got here. It's a wild guitar, man. It's sick, man. Love it. Love it, love it, love it. Now on to my Siberian Tiger. As my grandma would say, she said the Siberian Tiger was her favorite tiger because it was just the purtiest tiger. And this is my purty tiger. Loved and hated, man. And this guitar, man, I really gave it a hard knock. And I always was like, you know what I mean? It was like my oldest child, my oldest son that I wanted to take over the family business or something, man. It was one of those guitars, you know, because I was like converted to being a Kramerite and I wanted to be perfect. Sort of justify, you know what I mean? Betraying my friend Phil in my heart. You know, I wanted to make the best Kramer possible. And I, you know what I mean, didn't have the resources at the time to, you know what I mean, get all the parts I needed. So I cut a lot of corners, man. And that was frustrating to me until I was able to sort of, you know what I mean, justify myself, man. So, this guy right here, you know what I mean, I want to get a little bit, you know what I mean, more in depth with y'all about exactly why the Pacer Imperial, man. And, you know what I mean, I call it, these guys, as opposed to the Zebra pickups, I call them Tiger Stripe pickups for this guitar, man, just because he's my Siberian Tiger. Just let me tell you a little bit more about the background of why the Pacer Imperial, people. Let me give you some suggestions about my obsessions about this Kramer 82-ish Pacer Imperial, people. In the mid-90s, I had a buddy that had a stack of guitar magazines going back 20 years, you know, and I memorized all these guitars, man. I love Van Halen since my dad brought home 1984 on vinyl. The kid smoking a cigarette. I was crazy about that record, man. Over and over and over again listening to that thing, man. I loved Eddie Van Halen. He was like, you know what I mean? He was like Mr. Dutch America. You know what I'm saying? So, I saw this guitar in a guitar magazine. This actual Kramer picture from like 1982-ish. What Eddie was looking for, really? He was looking for, you know what I mean, a Stratocaster with Gibson Electronics. That's what he wanted, man. That's what he really wanted. That's what he was trying to achieve with Frankenstein. Frankenstein was a stagehand, though. He was going to betray his stagehand. But Kramer was good for Eddie, because if you take a look, you know what I'm saying? This is a couple years later. Got him playing a Rosewood board for the first time. Got him playing those DiMarzio, you know what I mean, the Tiger Stripe pickups. You know what I'm saying? Two good things. You don't see Eddie with Rosewood before that. And once when he jumped ship from Kramer, you know, as soon as he jumped ship, take a look at this, man. He went right to Ernie Ball Music, man. This is the first prototype. See that? He's got, let me see if I can zoom in on this, man. I'm not that good with this, you know what I mean? Here we go. I'm kind of okay with it. See that? That's got the, it's white, right? And it's got the Tiger pickups. I don't know why it took all that time, you know what I mean? But that's the first prototype. White, you know what I mean? And to this, you know what I mean? You know, for the last time we see him, our dear Eddie, you know, and he's still going around. This is with Wolfgang, with Tiger, you know what I mean, stripes, and a white guitar. So as I'm saying, that's Kramer's influence on our dear Eddie Van Halen. But just backing up a little bit, talking about that Imperial, I saw this picture too. You know, shortly after I saw that other one, Satriani, man. That's when we did the surfing era, man. That's when he was recording the surf album, man. That's my boy, man. This is Joe Satriani, one of the greatest guitarists ever, man. And what has he got? He's got a Rosewood board. 82 Rosewood board. Holy shit. My fantasy all of a sudden evolved in my head, man. I need one of these Neptune guitars, man. And I want one with Rosewood. I want 82 with the sports body made in Connecticut, right? That's what I want. That's who made the sports. Sports also made the necks back then, right? I'm saying the first batch. You know what I mean? So when I started, I'm crazy. I'm obsessive. I started gathering pictures everywhere I could find pictures on the interwebs. This is about 10 years ago, folks. And so this was something I saw on Reverb, I believe it was. And I was like, this is the actual Satriani model. You know what I mean? This is the one I was like, oh, look at that. You know what I mean? I like that early. This is cool because this is the first model that shit with the original Floyd Rose. You know what I'm saying? So that kind of means something. You know what I'm saying? To that 80s, you know what I mean, scene. You know what I'm saying? This is another picture. I just was studying up what was going to look like. You know, and I took notice of the back, right? And look at this. Yeah, I don't know if I can zoom in on this. You see the neck plate, right? It's got no serial number on it, man. Isn't that a trip? Isn't that a trip? So, you know what I mean? I saw this also. This is like an early, you know, 82, late maybe 82. This was crazy. It was black and it had those DiMarzios in it, the zebras. I was like, holy crap, man. This is what I need, man. It's got the rosewood board. You know what I mean? So I took like good notes. You know what I mean? Like, look at that. You know, it's got the one. You know what I'm saying? It's the DiMarzio, you know, up and down, man. You know what I mean? It's not the double ones that would like the shallower ones had those, you know what I mean, pickup surrounds. You know what I mean? With the 2 screws on it. You know, and look, and I took notice of this. Instead of the speed knobs, it had like black hardware, of course, but it had these, you know, Telecaster knobs. I was like, ooh, I like that. Bobby G likes that, man. And I just take mental notes, you know what I mean, of what the model looked like. You know, let my obsession grow. And there's the back, man. And I see that black chrome, you know what I mean, neck plate, right? And I see this. And then I took a look in like the early 83s. That's when the second batch of sports bodies came in. Now, of course, both those models I showed you, the black one and the white one, they both have, you know what I mean, nothing on the back of the beak. You know what I mean? They got none of the little, you know, truss rod key holders. No shit, man. These aren't shallers, man. These are Gotos. There's nothing on there. Blank. Make a mental note of that, people, man. Look at the way the tuning keys look. You know, and that's what they look like in 82, Bobby G. I made all these notes, man. I saved all these pictures off the internet. I was ready, man. I wanted to get building, man. But here's an 83, right? This is the second batch of sports bodies that came in, right? And then I believe sports next too, although they might have been ESP next. I'm not too sure, actually. This is like 83. It's got those DiMarzios with the single screw, you know what I mean, the tiger stripes, right? And it's got the, you know what I mean, the Floyd Rose with the black knobs and the black things, you know what I mean? But look, it's got a flat switch, you know what I mean? That's the first model had that flat switch to Kramer, right? You know what I mean? So you still got that big circle, you know what I mean, thing. So I studied, but look at this, the second batch. This is the, you know, one you don't want. See how the cavity's a little bit different? Let me go back. So just so you can take a mental note of what the cavity looked like on the first batch. That's what the cavity looked like on the first batch. The big fat cavity of Pacer Imperial. That's what I wanted on the early sports body. The 83s, a lot of them had these tiger stripe pickups. That was what I was looking for. But they mostly were undesirable, in my opinion, with that, man. Don't want that, bro. Mental note. So that was something I you know what I mean, I figured. So I looked, I scoured. I wanted to make a deal, man. I wanted to get the best deal I could. So Bobby G got it, man. $70 roundabout. Got it off of Reverb.com. Focus jokes. I don't have any idea who I got this off of, but it had the original owner's name scratched in the scratch plate in the back. It came with the scratch plate. I got all kinds of pictures. These are actually the seller's pictures, which I saved onto my hard drive. It had been painted, right? Red. And it looked like it'd been painted, like primer on top, whatever, original color. And I looked around the pictures before I even bought it. I saw this, I saw black. So I was like, oh, black's the original, you know, in color, right? And see, it had like been scraped through. But you know what I mean? Red was the color for the Kramers. Look, you know what I mean? Man, I had that Frankenstein with red, you know what I mean? See, it had the whole harness. It was all intact, man. Harness was intact. All the pots worked, you know, the switch was there, the original little tiny switch, the jack, right? I was like, not bad, man. And for $70, you know what I mean? You find one today, it's like $200. This is 10 years ago, right? So, you know what I mean? Everything was in there. See, it's got the jack still. One more jacked up, man. I'm all Jack Rabbit. You know what I'm saying? I was like excited even looking at these pictures now. That I owned a guitar for 10 years. There's all the electronics, man. So I got it, man. It was delivered. I had no neck. I wanted a rosewood neck. Even back then, these rosewood necks were like hen's teeth. And back then, they were more legendary than they are now. People tell all kinds of wives' tales. Oh, you know what I mean? There's only 7 of them made, man. You'll never find that. But I was like, you know what I mean? Gathering info, man. Researching, thinking, studying. You know, also another little side note I want to tell you. I remember I told you this dude scrawled his name on there. You know what I mean? I'm not going to, because of privacy, tell you what his name is, right? But I kind of stalked him out when I'm doing this video right now. Because, you know, I always like to use those guest kits, you know, things. Even though we're not going to do it now with, like, Chronoland. But, you know what I mean? I was like, well, maybe I'll do it later. And I'll get a track down this dude. So I was like, who is this guy? So I you know what I mean, stalked him out on the internet. And I found out he was in like a southern, like, you know what I mean, heavy metal band, punk heavy metal band. This is him playing a Les Paul. I you know what I mean, private. I've X'd his eyes out. You see, he looked like David Bryan from Bon Jovi, the dude with the curly hair. And the band moved out to L.A. and they cut a couple cuts. And then I think he went back south. And he disappeared, the original guy. And I was like, where is he now? Maybe, you look at that David Bryan haircut, man. So maybe my man, the original owner of the guitar, who you're looking at right now, you know what I mean? Maybe you'll like to play it. You know what I mean? Wow, man, Bobby G. So where is he now, right? So I found him on the Facebook, man. There he was, man. He's this guy. Look at that, man. Nah, he don't look like a dude that wants to hang out. You know what I mean? He's got a gun. He's got a big sign that says, eat shit. And look at his Shakespearean friend. Look at the comment that his Shakespearean friend wrote here, man. I just want to say, damn, old friend, you're looking old. So, yes, he did go south again. You know what I mean? Privacy, man. You know what I mean? I wish you well, my brother. I ain't going to reveal your identity to my public. If you see my video, I love you. And you're not violent, you can definitely do, you know what I mean, do a guest test anytime, brother. So here it is, man. The neck is what I needed. I, of course, did my homework. You know, Bobby G, man. I found pictures of what 1982 neck looked like, man. What I was looking for, because I figured I'm not going to find it. So I found a picture of what it was going to look like, so I'm going to have to synthesize it, man. You know what I mean? So here's some pictures that I gathered back then, man. You know, front, back, center, what it's supposed to look like, a blank back. I was like, okay, man, this is doable, man. I'll find something to stick in that hole, bro. You know what I mean? I'll get that hole plugged, man. You know what I mean? I can't just have a neck, you know, a body with no neck. You know what I'm saying? At the time, I was loving these. These were called, let me zoom in a little on this guy, man. This was called a Spectrum Strat, man. It was like a real cheap import, like sold by a Target store. This is like a 90s model. And I was pulling them out of the flea markets and Craigslist at the time, making like all kinds of, like, you know, Strat-like things. And the cool thing about this is, at the time, most import Strat bodies were like 1.5, and the back, if they were sunbursts, were like all black. These were like 1.67, right? So almost like regular sized, right? And the back was a correct sunburst too, man. You know what I mean? I had no need for the necks, you know what I mean? But I got a lot of these bodies, man. Use them on a lot, man. And I looked at it, man, and I was like, you know, and I looked at what I needed, and I was like, I actually pulled one out of the pile, because I knew we'd be talking, and here's an old one from the pile, man. You know what I mean? Say la vie. You know what I mean? Right? Say the old folks. Look at that. It's got, even the tuners look correct. You know what I mean? I was like, I saw it immediately, and I was like, this is it, man. I just got to shave this off, man. You know what I mean? It looks great. Look at that. You know what I mean? Perfect. Perfect. Right? You know what I'm saying? So I was a content Bobby G, man. I was loving life Bobby G again. You know what I mean? I said, you know what I mean? I'm going to shave it. I shaved it off, right? And I'm running out of speed, man. I actually got some decals from one of the dudes that worked at Kramer, because a lot of people work around Kramer. Johnny Rock used to work for Kramer, believe it or not. He did. Believe it or not, man. There you go. Historic data for you people. Historic folks. Don't fail me now, man. I've been talking too long to fall down on the job, my friend. You know what I'm saying, man? You gotta be a good little selfie stick. So, I basically hit it up with some like lacquer, man, and the paint came out. These are original from the Kramer factory, and I was like, man. And I called him, right, and I complained about it, and he's like, your own fault, my friend. You know what I mean? Got it going. You know what I mean? He sent me another. I had to buy another one, man. You know what I mean? I use like real watered down kind of shit, you know. And I got it though. It looked good. You know what I mean? I got that, you know, shaved down, a good thing. Stripped off that red, and I stripped off this primer, and I stripped off the black, you know, and I got it down to its bare ass. You know what I mean? And finally, after toiling for many years, man, I got what I thought I wanted, man. There's old Bobby G. Fat old Bobby G. Look at him, man. You know what I mean? He doesn't look too happy, man. You know what I mean? There you got the Telecast knobs. I did the silver thing, right? And there's something missing in Bobby G's heart, though, with this guitar. I just wasn't feeling that, man. You know what I'm saying? And something about that, I got a real cheese. First of all, I made the pickups myself. You know what I'm saying? And, you know what I mean? Yeah, I was trying to make the best of Marzio copies I could, right? You know what I mean, man? I was doing the best I could possibly try. And I got these 3 knobs from this Chinese guy I was working with at the time, man. They're all like mismatched, man. I thought they were, you know what I mean? They kind of, but nobody could tell but me, of course. You know what I mean? And I got like a copy off of, you know what I mean, the Floyd Rose. You know what I'm saying, man? It just left me cold, man. The whole thing left me real cold. And I wanted some you know, upgrades, man. I wanted some action. You know what I'm saying, people? I wanted a little change in my life. Let's see if I can get this. Fine there. First thing I wanted to do, man, is I wanted to get rid of these knobs, man. I wanted to find like the speed knobs, and I wanted to get rid of this. You know what I mean? Let me show you if I find the other one here. See this? I had this real cheesy sort of. Let me get this zoomed in here. Look at these strap buttons, man. They're terrible. You know what I mean? So I found a guy who had like I think it's called a Voyager, an '83 Voyager, and I got all the parts I needed, man. I got the back plate, you know, the correct Kramer black plate. You know what I mean? Here it is, man, on the beauty. This is, you know what I mean? And I got, see what I mean? I got the strap buttons, the correct strap buttons. I got the speed knobs. You know what I mean? The Kramer speed knobs. You know what I'm saying? And this actually I got, so I got no number, real deal black chrome. And somehow Seed bought like a warehouse in Lakewood, right? And found a whole bunch of these and sold them on eBay like 20, 30 bucks a piece. No number on it, man. Original black chrome. You know what I mean? Made right in that factory right there in Lakewood. You know what I mean? But there was one thing that really bothered me, man. And I'll get right in here and show you what it was. See this? See that? The Floyd Rose there? Right? And see, let's take a look here. This here. You know what I mean? And here's a picture here from what it should look like. This is from that one from Reverb when I first started. I look how it's got those. It's got these little fluted things. Now these are the kind of things that it had in there, man. This is for the tension. You know what I mean? The tension buttons right here. You know what I mean? It had these things stuck in there. And it needed these, man. You know what I'm saying? And these had to be black, man. And what I was dealing with right there, take a look, man. See what I was dealing with, man? It was silver, right? And I had these little jerked off things. So I went on Reverb, I believe it was, right? And I found a guy who had them. First I looked at the Chinese sites and I was like, I don't want to wait again. Yeah, I mean, this was probably 4 or 5 years ago when I finally decided to do something about, you know what I mean, tricking out the parts on the Floyd Rose, you know what I'm saying? And I saw a guy local to me, you know, listing all these parts real cheap, and they said original Floyd Rose. I was like, oh shit. So I actually got the guy's number and I called him up, You know what I mean? The guy said, "Oh yeah." He's like, "Well," and he gave me the address. He's like, "Come down." I was like, "Can I pay in cash?" Like, "Sure." You know what I mean? So I went down there, and I went to the building. It was Floyd Rose, man. And there it was, man. This is the paperwork I got, man. So I go in there. You know what I mean? I get the parts. You know, I told him what I was doing. You know, I was honest with him. When I got there, there was like an older dude, and they were like all celebrating. He's saying, "Oh, I'm going back out west," and you know what I mean? Whatever he's talking to guys, didn't know I was like even there. You know what I mean? Nobody sort of realized I was standing there. Right? It's sort of like a Floyd Rose museum in there, man. Every tremolo they ever made, every part they ever made was in this big glass case. They had some guitars on the wall. It was crazy. You know what I mean? And I'm just standing there picking up these parts. You know what I mean? And so he's like, "Oh, so what can I help you for?" So I'm here to pick it up. He's like, "There's another one," he said. He's like, "I told you, it's better, you guys sell them than sit in my, basement or whatever." And he comes over to me, you know what I mean? And takes the $5 out of my chain. He gave me a couple pennies or whatever. He signed off this sheet. You know what I mean? Put his little signature, a little F there. You know what I mean? Gave me the parts, and I was talking to him, and I was like, "Hey, man, you guys get money off those little import pieces?" He says Floyd Rose on it. Somebody gets it. He's like, "Not me." He's like, "That's a shame." I was like, "All right, man. Well, my name's Bobby G, man. Good to see you." He's like, "My name's Floyd Rose, man." It was Floyd Rose himself, dude. Floyd Rose himself signed my receipt at Floyd Rose, man. Isn't that crazy, man? He found all kinds of parts in his basement, right? And I bought them. So this is like a licensed Floyd Rose, cheap one, with actual pieces that I bought straight out of Floyd Rose's basement, man. I got the receipt to prove it, signed by Floyd Rose, man. So it's sort of like half a real Floyd Rose. So let's take a quick look at this guy. I know I've been talking like 20 minutes now. I can barely even breathe. You know what I mean? A little bit closer look at it. Hear it. I'll send you on your way, man. To your little quarantine moments. Peace be with you. There it is, man. Walked right out of the 80s and into my arms, man. What a like a picture of my youth, man. Picture of the, innocent era of AIDS. And Ronald Reagan, man. Clown-arounds, Monchichis, Shirt Tails, G.I. Joe, Hooded Cobra Commander, Skeletor, listen to me, man, Destro, Optimus Prime, Smurfs, Fantasy DiMarzios, with one screw. A loved and hated guitar, folks. Solid body, man. Gorgeous thing. Definitely a unique guitar, man. Now, on the Floyd Rose tip, you know what I mean, other than these little black wheels and fluted, tension screws being out of Floyd Rose's basement. I mean, it's pretty much the same thing. Cheapy metal, like, you know what I mean? The originals had slotted retention screws. I had said that I got this off Reverb, but thinking back, I actually did get this off eBay. So, sorry, I shouted out Reverb. It was eBay, man. Credit where credit's due, man. I don't want to, you know what I'm saying? So, one last little parable I'm going to give you about this neck, man. I was doing a trade, right, with this dude. You know what I mean? He was like a kind of a know-it-all. I haven't talked to him in a while, so I'm going to talk about him right now. He came over here. He sort of knew his stuff, man. Always like, he was never wrong, this guy, man. And he's like, "Ooh, look at this Kramer Pacer Imperial." I'd say 1982, 1981. Early. Rosewood board, beautiful. And he started playing it, plugged it in and stuff. Didn't even ask permission. Whatever, man. He was cool in the gang. I thought I was hanging with him at the time, right? And plus I had some pretty cool parts in the trade, so... Anyway, man, so he's like, this neck looks like one of the first necks ever. I was like, "Oh yeah, first Rosewood Kramer Imperial necks." This I'm saying is an 81. This is before they were putting even Rockinger, tremolos on. I was like, "Really?" "Yes, man, for sure. This was converted to Floyd Rose." I was like, "Was it?" He's like, "Oh, yes. It originally had the Strat tremolo, the original Strat tremolo. You can tell because somebody's taken the string trees off. You know what I mean? You see how they've been plugged. Oh, they have. And this has definitely been chopped off. This used to be a regular Strat headstock. This is what they call a lop off." I was like, "Oh, was it?" Well, somebody did lop that off. He's like, "Yes." I was like, "You're right, man." He's like, "I'm always right." I was like, "Always right, man. Always right." The guy was so right that a couple years later, somebody was checking it out. I actually repeated the story to him. Like, oh yes, this is one of the first rosewood models ever. Look, this is had a Strat headstock at one point, and string trees, and a regular tremolo, and it's been converted to a Floyd Rose, you see. But it is one of the originals from 1981. I swear it. It's before they invented serial numbers, before they even made his number. There are no numerals on it. Please, wash your hands. Listen to the 80s. Give your chance. It is, folks. Little Slice of Perfection, 1982 style, man. The Kramer Pacer Imperial. God bless you, Eddie Van Halen. Wash those hands, brother. Wash those hands, man. Listen to me, Eddie. Wash them on both sides, too, bro. Wash them on both sides, Eddie. Don't forget the backs. We love you too much, man. You know, another 40th anniversary milestone that was just swept under the carpet. All the pandemonium, pandemic, pandicide, panderonium. 40th anniversary of the release of the greatest pop album of all time, man. Billy Joel's Glass Houses, folks. Oh, at least in my heart, man. Perfect record, man. So Billy, wash those hands, bro. Wash them, man. You should sing happy birthday at least one time, man. Make sure you're clean, man. The world without Billy Joel's a scary thought, man. So if you don't want to sing happy birthday, you might want to sing this one, man. I've been watching you walk so night die. Nobody's found a way behind your defenses. They never noticed the zap going in your head until you're probably getting stunned in your senses. All night long, all night long. You shoot them down because you're waiting for somebody good to come on. And you'll be sleeping with the television on. You say you're looking for someone solid here. You can't be bothered with those just for the night boys. Not unless you take some kind of chances, dear. Tomorrow morning you wake up with the white noise. All night long, all night long. You're only standing there because somebody once did somebody wrong. And you'll be sleeping with the television on. Your eyes are saying talk to me, but your attitude is walk, don't waste my time. Your eyes are saying talk to me, but it just might be that same old line. Billy Joel, man, peace be with you. I love you, brother. I remembered Glass Houses, bro. 1982, Kramer Pacer Imperial. We love you. God bless you. Take care of yourself. Eddie, wash those hands. Eddie, we love you.